Kevin, you're on the Larry Oldest Show. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it.
Hey, good afternoon, Larry. Nice to talk to you again.
You too.
The LA Fire Department, the Los Angeles City Fire Department, is recognized around the world as one of the premier fire agencies in the world, not just in America. But the thing that
recognized by whom?
Running out of water.
Recognized by whom?
By other fire agencies. When there's a disaster in wherever, they fly their urban rescue team literally around the world to assist others.
Kevin, may I ask you a question before you go on? Are you impressed with the job they've done so far?
Yes, I am. Absolutely
really?
Impressed.
They're out of water. They're out of water.
That's right. Let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 1-million-gallon tanks that service that area, that service Pacific Palisades. 3 1-million-gallon tanks. They've serviced it for 100 years. It's designed to, you go home at 5 o'clock, you take a shower, you water your lawn. The neighbor next door is running the dishwasher. It services that very well. Oops, a house caught on fire over there. It'll handle that too. What it cannot handle, and there is no municipal water system in the country that can handle 5,000 burning houses at a time. You cannot show me a conservative water tank that can handle 5,000.
How is it that Rick Caruso's structure in the Palisades was not destroyed?
Look, when there's a hurricane or a tornado in Kansas, this house will be destroyed. That one will be standing.
He took no action. He took no action.
This is an act of God. 100-mile-per-hour.
Did you hear what I said earlier in the show about what Rick Caruso did to make sure that his complex was protected? He hired private firefighters, and his employees hosed down their complex. It wasn't burned. Now he can do it. How come other people couldn't have done that? How come the fire department couldn't have done that? They didn't have water.
No, they didn't have water because they used it all. The load was 4 times the normal load.
Kevin, you don't believe that the failure to thin the forest had anything at all to do with the severity of these fires?
Okay, thinning the forest, what you're talking about is controlled burns. This was an urban fire.
Controlled burns and removing the debris of fallen trees.
That's right. We do not know the source of this fire, but upwind from the fire, where it happened, a fart could have set that off. We don't know how
irrespective of the cause of the fire, the severity of it, the intensity of it, could have been diminished substantially had they thinned the forest, which they have not been doing, as the Assemblyman just now mentioned.
Forest fire.
I'm sorry?
This was not a forest fire. This happened in a neighborhood, in an urban area. If one house caught on fire because of an electrical spark or whatever, it's upwind from the damage. The damage blew that way. That has nothing to do with the forest.
It's right next to the forest, my friend.
It is, but can you tell me the source of this fire, where it happened?
One more time, irrespective of the source of the fire. It could have been a spark, could have been down power lines, it could have been arson. The question is, the severity of it would have been severely diminished had these kinds of things been done. Controlled burns been done. Removal of fallen trees been done. It hasn't been done because of the environmentalists.
Absolutely not. If the house caught on fire in the neighborhood, which happens all the time, and the winds are blowing 100 miles per hour, and you are downwind from that house, that's a very easy thing to get out of control quickly, and that's what happened.
No, this state has 40 million people. It's got an infrastructure that will accommodate 20 million people. There hasn't been any major development for water preservation in over 20 years, even though voters have voted for bond measures, as they did back in 2014, $7.5 billion, and then later on, another one, $1.4 billion. Nothing was built because of lawsuits primarily filed by... Let me finish. Primarily found by environmentalists, and they're in bed with the politicians, and as a result, nothing has been done in about 20 years to support a state that is now twice as big as the infrastructure it had 20 years ago.
Larry, you're right. My shop is in Fontana. If you drive through Fontana, you see these huge water tanks sitting on the ground. They have pumps next to them. This is the only criticism I have of what happened with MWD up there. In Fontana, they have big diesel Caterpillar-powered pumps next to the tanks. They're not fed from the grid.
All right. Okay, we're going to move on. Thank you very much for the call, Kevin. I appreciate it. Sydney is in Lake Arrowhead, California. Sydney, you're on the Larry Oldest Show. Thank you so much for calling.
Hi, Larry. Thank you for taking my call. I was calling in regards to that guy that called about, you were talking to him about cleaning the debris in the forest and everything.
Right, Kevin.
And our property in Lake Arrowhead backs right up to the forest. We live right on the forest. And we have big piles of debris sitting behind our house that was cut down several years ago by the forestry. And it has been sitting out there for I don't know how many years. We've already had one big fire up here this year in Running Springs that went all the way up to Big Bear. And if we have another fire up here, that is going to affect our house. Our house will just go up in flames because of all of those cuttings that are sitting back there in big piles. It will just be a torch out behind our house. So I just wanted to relay that to you, and the forestry could care less.
Sydney, how long have you lived there?
Since 99.
And about your property insurance, how much has it increased since you've been living there?
Yeah. Almost 50%.
Yeah.
Just had it out with State Farm. They still are covering us, but they have almost increased our property insurance 50%. But the forestry will do nothing about those piles behind our house.
Cindy, thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it. Unbelievable.